Over the past few months, I've been making $29 an hour playing poker, but I haven't been studying much. And if I'm being honest, $25 an hour isn't enough. If I'm going to move out of my van and level up in life, I'm going to need to make much more than that. So over the next 30 days, I'm running a test. 1 hour of deliberate poker study per day. And at the end of this, we're going to see if studying an hour a day actually increases my hourly or if it doesn't change anything. The stat that I'm going to use to measure is called ROI adjusted, and the reason that I like it is that it neutralizes for luck as much as possible. Here's my results from January 1st until March 13th, the day we're starting this challenge. As you can see, just over 3%, not bad, but not amazing. So when I'm playing poker, I can click on the top of this program and make a note of a player that I'm playing to study for later. So once I have the hands that I want to study, I open Poker Tracker 4 and I go through them individually. So in this first hand, we hit 6-5 suited, we raise. Our opponent just re-raises a small amount. That's just a call. We flop top 2 pair. Now, I remember this hand specifically, and I know that I played it differently than I would play it on a day-to-day basis. So my normal default play here going forward is going to be just a call. So my opponent bets here big, which signifies he might have an overpair, he might have a 6, he might have, he could have probably not 7-8, but he could still have it. And so I just went all in. And I don't like that play. Yes, I'm ahead right now by a tiny bit, but number one, it gives all of his draws a chance to improve. There's already more than enough in there where if he has just a flush draw, just a straight draw, he's got pretty good equity. If he has 7-8, we're crushed. If he has, 6 of diamonds and something else, like 7-6 of diamonds, he's got us, he's ahead. And he might call stuff like 9s and 10s and jacks that we do pretty well against, but if the board pairs, we lose. So we're putting a lot of money in with a hand that's actually, even though it's top 2 pair, it's actually kind of in medium strength. We don't really want to play a big pot with this. So our opponent calls, we turn a full house, he turns the straight flush. Yeah, that's unlucky, but the point is, we shouldn't have played the hand in this way anyways. And so that's the whole point of doing this is once in a while, he's going to have a 30% hand, but I want to be able to get the spots where he mostly has a 30% hand. This spot, he's going to have a lot of good hands. So I don't like how I played that. And that's going to be something that going forward, I really try to focus on. I want to be able to play smaller pots with this type of hand because if the turn comes a 3 or the turn comes a 7, we can get away from it. And that's kind of the point is sometimes, even though you start out with a good hand, the board changes rapidly on this type of board. So that's a bit of a mistake. I'm going to be playing that differently from now on. I'll go over one more hand here, and then I'll give you a couple of chess examples just to show how you can implement this in pretty much anything. So our opponent raises, min raises, we just call. We get a straight draw. Now keep in mind, of course, you don't see his hand until after the game. So this isn't me knowing what he had and playing it this way, just in case you're new to poker. So my opponent bets, we just call. We turn what for us is a good card and we check again. Our opponent bets and we raise fairly big, fairly straight up as we're kind of saying we have a 7 here. And our opponent plays it well. He's a recreational player, but he played this well and he just calls. And the last card comes and I make a huge bet and I don't like this bet. I think up to this point, we played the hand good. I don't mind the raise on the turn. We can still be up against a hand with a jack. We could still be up against the flush draws. So when the last card doesn't complete the flushes, doesn't improve a jack to a better straight, I actually don't feel terrible about betting here, but I think I should have gone maybe 200 because you want him to be curious and call with a hand like a 10. You want him to be curious and call with something like 9-8. And when I make this huge bet here, now we only have 573 behind. If he goes all in, which he does, we're pretty much forced to call. And basically, I played a hand too aggressively. Like, this is a good but not great hand. We don't have the best possible hand. And if we bet 200 instead of 600, we have 972 behind. If he just goes all in really quickly, we can say, okay, well, how often does he do this with just a 7 compared to Jack 7 and Queen Jack? And especially, you know, when you start factoring in, okay, he doesn't open very many hands. This opponent is actually pretty risk adverse. And so again, once you look at the full picture later, you can kind of realize, okay, I was rushing a little bit when I played this game. I didn't actually factor in the fact that this guy, when he raises here, even when he raises, I should be folding, because he's not going to do that with just a 7. He's just going to call. He's very passive. And so, again, it's just an example where I played the hand a little too quickly when I was playing the game. And after the fact, I would not have played the hand the same way. That's just how deliberate practice works. You want to be able to look at how you played something, and you know, if you figure out later that you played it as good as you think you can, great, good for you. But the whole thing is, look at every play where you maybe lost a big pot or found a situation where you weren't really sure about what to do, and put it under the microscope and be brutally honest with yourself. Like, I don't think that was a good play. And it's not because I lost the hand. I think it's because I had enough information, if I was patient and slower in the game, to take this hand and play it completely differently. And so that's what the whole purpose of deliberate practice is. This is the kind of stuff that makes you get better. You have all the information in front of you, and it's who can use that information the best. And that's why I'm kind of excited about implementing this, because I don't think a lot of people do. And it's very useful and it works. So that's a couple of poker examples. Here's my chess example. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how I break down games in chess to show you that these skills are transferable to just about anything that you can improve. So about 20 years ago, I started playing chess. I got to about a chess rating of 1200 to 1300. My brother got really good at chess and kicked my butt like 10 games in a row. And I realized for us to even be competitive anymore, I'm going to have to get better. So this is what I use to get better. I pasted into lichess.org, and then it goes through and gives you an analysis of your game. And so for this game, I lost. My opponent wasn't that good either. He made obviously 5 inaccuracies, 4 mistakes. I made 4 inaccuracies, 4 mistakes. So if we go from the start of this game, you can see that as this white line is going up at the bottom of the screen, that's me actually having the advantage. And so at this point, I'm still playing pretty good, right? This was a game for me to... this was a game that I was looking like I could win. And then my opponent made some good plays. And let's go through this spot here. So this next move, I move here. It gives me a double question mark, which basically means that's a pretty big mistake. And so it says, so instead of moving that piece up, I should actually be taking this pawn here. The point of this video isn't an instructional video on how to play chess, but the point is, when you go through the game and see how you could have played it better, and over time, these repetitions will lead to you getting better. For example, I used to have this one opening that people could play against me, and I just couldn't understand what they were doing. And I put it into this program. I looked at some of the scenarios for how a computer would defend against it and implemented that into my strategy. And probably over the next 6 months to a year, my highest rating got to actually 1744, I think it was. over 1,700, something like the top 2 or 3% of players on chess.com. And I was pretty happy with that number. And at some point, I'm going to try to improve that. And maybe my lifetime goal is to get it over 2,000. But the point of this is if you use deliberate practice, whether it's in your job, whether it's in sales, whether it's in university, you will make improvements. And that's kind of the great thing about this is a lot of people in poker, they just want to get good at playing aces. A lot of people in chess, they want to find out some trick move that, you know, it'll work against some of the weaker players, or maybe they can beat their friends, but it's not really how you grow. You grow by doing these boring little adjustments and getting better and better at those. And now the payoff you've been waiting for. Since I started studying an hour a day, my ROI went from 3.13% to 5.28%. That's over a 68% increase in just a few weeks. My hourly went from $29.03 to $45.13. And until only a couple bad sessions in the last couple days, it was actually over 50. Doing this studying has actually made me realize there's still a bunch more to learn, even though I think I'm fairly advanced. So I'll be studying 30 minutes every day just to see what kind of ceiling I can reach. It worked in chess, it worked in poker, and I'm pretty sure it's going to work in baseball for pitching too. Sticking with this deliberate practice might actually be the X factor that levels up my life. And I'm not just applying this to poker, I might just operate in every area of my life like this from now on. Follow along if you want to see how far I can take this.